As if being the largest bankrupt city in America isn't bad enough, Detroit's city water department now $175 million in debt because customers aren't paying their bills. They can't afford it.
And according to some activists, the best solution involves calling in the UN. Here to discuss is host of Varney & Co., Stuart Varney himself.
The United
Nations?
Look, this is a deliberate attempt to shame America in a very anti-American forum. Hey, look, they're cutting off the water. That's not delivering a human right, water, to the citizens of America. Shame on you, America. That's what they're up to.
Well, why do they get to this point? How do they get to this point? It's only a $50 water bill a month, isn't it?
Okay, hold on a second. Half of all the water accounts in Detroit are behind in their payments, okay? That's half of 320,000, a lot of people. So in April, they shut off 44,000 accounts, just shut them off. And in April, they shut off some more. Right. So then the activist groups say, you can't do that. You can't shut the water off. You're depriving people of a human right. We're taking you to the United Nations. Right. Whereupon the Detroit Water Department said, wait a minute, we've got to have a new way of doing business here. We're bankrupt.
Well, why don't the people of Detroit blame the Democrats in charge of the city? Because they're the ones who okayed jacking up the prices.
Right.
In the last 10 years, the price of water in Detroit has doubled.
Yes, it has. And now the average bill is way above the national average bill for water. But guess what? After the Detroit people turned off the water to all these thousands of homes, they found that many of them, the very next day, paid in full. So they're saying, look, you got into the habit of just not paying your bills. You got to get out of that habit because we're bankrupt.
So
pay up.
So we're not going to the local officials who end up having responsibility for these prices here. They're going to the UN?
Yes.
Why?
Well, they want leverage. They're trying to shame America. If they go to the UN, because that's an anti-American organization, and the UN turns around and says, see, that rich country, them Americans, they don't even allow their citizens free drinking water, for heaven's sake. Shame on them, they're Americans. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, you're
this
right.
is leverage. It's an attempt to get leverage over the federal government so that they'll come in and bail out Detroit.
Well, that's the same thing Hugo Chavez was doing, giving low-cost fuel to Massachusetts in certain areas in order to embarrass our government.
That's right.
So this Blue Planet project's the one who's bringing it to the UN.
Oh, they're Canadian, by the way. Yeah,
Canadian.
That is a Canadian
project
operation.
interested in Detroit, bringing it to the UN.
And then they give an interview to Al Jazeera saying, we're trying to pressure the federal government to do something about this.
Really something.
Good story, isn't it?
It's a great story. It's a sad story.
It is.
I'm sure you're going to be talking about it later today or over on Varney & Co. It's between 11 and 1 o'clock.
When he's not talking soccer with me.
I'm going to hashtag
This guy
that.
who talks to talk World Cup.
We'll get the IRS in there as well, believe me.
Yeah, I like to investigate FIFA.
Sure.
Stuart,
Thanks,
we'll be with you soon.